Hey, welcome to Meet the Leaders at SAP. I'm Shailendra, and you're watching this simulcast live on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Hope you're safe and keeping social distancing. Okay, innovation, a topic very close to my heart. Innovation generally refers to changing processes or creating more effective processes, products, and ideas. For businesses, this could mean implementing new ideas, creating dynamic products, or improving existing services. Innovation can be a catalyst for the growth and success of your business and help you to adapt and grow in the marketplace. To discuss how SAP helps organizations in innovating and redesigning their business processes, I have Marvin Rougier, Director of SAP Experience Center in Singapore. First of all, for you to view this episode and other sessions that are run on emerging technologies live, I would request you to follow me so that you can be alerted when a live show is on and you get an opportunity to ask the question. You know the drill, right? Okay. So please press the follow button on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and subscribe button on YouTube with the bell icon so that you get alerted. Okay, Marvin. Marvin's goal is to foster a collaborative environment for businesses, startups, and small and large enterprises to experiment and innovate. With over 10 years of experience within SAP, Marvin leads the SAP Experience Center in Singapore, which is designed to serve as the front end for APJ customers and partners to accelerate their digital innovation. So, without any further ado, let me bring in Marvin Rougier for you. Hey, Marvin, how are you?
Hey Shelly, how you doing?
Very good, Marvin. How's life in Singapore?
Oh, life is good in Singapore. Still confining, so it's an interesting period that we are all living in at the moment.
Yep, staying indoors.
Staying indoors, going for a casual walk outside or run outside whenever we can. But hopefully, the situation will get better soon, right?
Yeah, perfect. Okay, Marvin, let's start with knowing about you. So tell us about yourself. Where did you start? What happened? How did you reach SAP?
That is an interesting question, right? So everything started in a small town back in France, right? So everybody will guess from my accent. By the way, I love how you're saying Marvin Rougier. That sounds very nice. I should keep that in mind for my next introduction. But I've been with SAP for over 10 years now. And it's actually my first company. I joined after the Sales Graduate Academy there. At the time, it was back in 2010, I actually had the choice between two big companies. After my study, it was whether in the sales department in Barcelona within SAP, or in the marketing department in Yves Saint Laurent, based in Miami. So one was in Barcelona, the other one was in Miami. You now know all the choice I've made. I've decided to go for Barcelona. It was a great experience. I've learned everything about sales in different line of business of SAP. I learned everything about the European market as well. And after that, after 4 years, decided to try my luck into an English-speaking country. And no, it was not the United States of America, although that could still be, an interesting opportunity. But in Australia, where again, being confronted to a new culture, a new way of doing things, have really taught me a lot over the next 4 years of my career. And I recently moved to Singapore because it's only been 2 years. It seems that I'm doing 4-year cycle all the time, right? So 2 years in Singapore now. I moved out a little bit of the sales organization, and with my knowledge of the different culture, of the different product, we're trying to embed the innovation, innovation stories, innovation processes for our customer within their business processes directly.
Okay, so before I get to the next part of the question, let me tell you that we've got around about 35 people watching us. Guys, if you've got a question, in the comment box, and I will make sure Marvin answers those. Anyways. Okay.
Yeah, it's live answering the question, so don't be too harsh, please. Come on, you can do it.
Well, you have to be harsh. I know Marvin. Now, I remember Marvin invited me to present at one of the clients in Melbourne, and I flew in there, and that was the first time I met. Then we had a coffee. You remember that evening we had the coffee at the outside that company? I don't know to name them, but it was It was the first time I met Marvin, and we thought we have some kind of a similar mindset. So it was quite nice.
Those were the good times, Shelly. It was the time we can still have a coffee on the terrace. I'm still really expecting for this time to come back, really.
Absolutely. Okay, so how long with SAP now? And so tell me, what is the most rewarding part of working with SAP? What makes you more happy?
Okay, so there's actually two answers to this. There's one that is personal, and there's the other one that is professional. First of all, I've been 10 years with SAP, and I think when I first started, my goal was really to capture the most information, probably go there for 3 years, and after that, we're still the digital generation, right? The millennials. So we mainly think that our experience we will gain through different experience in other companies, and that was not the case. I'm still really, really happy and surprised to see that my career at SAP has grown so far for now. And I think that's the first thing that I want to say here. Why am I proud to work for SAP? Is because SAP is like a family now. My wife, I met her at SAP. I did a mention about even my wedding. I think 25, if not more, people at the wedding were actually from SAP. So I think it would have made sense to have SAP banner and sponsoring. I should have asked that to our CEO at the time. But it's really something personal that I'm really connected with, close friend. And to be honest, I'm really eager to learn around different cultures. That's why I'm traveling across Barcelona, Australia, and Singapore now, is to learn, adapt, and help in challenging situations, different customer, different team, and SAP has been provided that all along. So why leaving when you're really striving? That was my realization. So first, personally, I will say very happy with the experience, and second, what I love about SAP is, you always somehow learn from the best. You never grow thinking to yourself alone, hey, I'm going to be the best at this and being a competition with your colleague. That's not the case. It's really rare that you are the smartest in the room. There's always someone smarter than you that you can learn from, and everybody as a team, just expand. And I think it's beautiful. We really had a good time with this. That's why I'm still here, and I'm still loving it.
Good stuff. Innovation. Let's talk innovation, the reason why we are here today. So, first of all, tell me, why do you care about innovation? What value have you seen that excites you to say, oh, that I want to do this?
Well, I think if you think about especially how SAP is positioned, and I was an account executive myself, and I've heard the story too often, which is, SAP, you guys, is very good with finance. You're doing the back end very well, and it is true. This is the true fact that we're very good at what we're doing in the business processes. But over my career, when I started, I was always linked to the innovative product that SAP was putting out there. So back in 2010, I was supporting a financial software in the cloud that was, the beginning of the investment in the cloud for SAP that was called By Design. So I was part of this, innovative team in Paris, launching the market across our customers. Then I moved to HANA as a database at the time. So again, innovative way for SAP to attract customers and to show them the value they can bring. And again, step by step, every time there was something new in the market, I was apparently the guy that says, hey, give it to Marvin. He's the one that can embed those storytelling to his customer and show the new face of SAP somehow, right? Because it was not only about being a first in our market, but also showing our new capabilities. So when this opportunity arrived of leading the innovation center in Singapore, it was a very good opportunity for me. I didn't see it coming as early as it happened as well, but it was great and very linked towards my career path actually, which was really positioning the value of innovation for our customer. Because sometimes you can think about a very and I will provide some example later on, but you can think about some really small innovation that have big value for companies. But the truth is, how do you integrate this with very complex, very complex infrastructure, or with change of management that is difficult? So all of this, really, we're trying to manage and show the real value of innovation to our customers.
Okay, guys, you got to ask the questions. We've got around about 32 people there on the show. Guys, you got to give hard time to Marvin. Okay, so you need to start asking questions. Anyways, so tell us a use case that comes to your mind, or maybe the first use case that you did with the Experience Center. I think that will be much more interesting. And how did you react to it?
Okay, so I'm going to share an interesting story that I think helped illustrate, what our team is at the really the basis and the core of what we are delivering. But first, let me tell you, first I would say introduction is why those innovation center exist. And I think our strategy is to really unlock what we call at SAP the intelligent enterprise. And a very simple way, what intelligent enterprise mean is three things. First is, how do I harness the right data in my company that could be unstructured, internal data, external data, to the right, which is my second point, to the right business processes, right? And we do so thanks to different tools that we are called tools. It could be through the blockchain technology, machine learning technology, Internet of Things. So it's really about connecting the right data to the right business process so that you can gain full visibility. And we are way above the pure only analytic dashboard. It's really around automating those processes, which really lead to the benefit that you want to create, which is the third point, which is your people, right? How do you know what the customer wants even before he wants it? How do you take the repetitive task away for your employees so that they can thrive in their business? So it's really at the center and the core of what we do now. If I have to illustrate this with a story, well, I introduced myself at the beginning. I said I started my career in Barcelona. So let me explain in the entertainment industry what we can be doing. Now, everybody if I ask into the audience, who was the last one who went to the theater? Could be that a few people are going there, but now more than ever, and we are all stuck in our houses. I mean, Netflix has beaten some records on the stock option, and the list goes on, right? So one of the theater in Barcelona was confronted with a real challenge, right? It's called the Bernabeu the theater, and basically less and less people were coming due to this digital wave. And the government, on top of that, to top it up, was installing a 30% tax on all the entertainment activities that were going on, which means the price of their ticket was going to go up.
Yep.
So, faced with that situation, it's almost like a theater was going to say, well, we need to close door. So the SAP team was also involved, and they say, well, how can we find a way through technology to actually get out of this? So now it's not that easy because you're thinking, your brain goes totally in a different way. So we came up with a solution for them. So the team went in the room and they said, well, we got the solution for you. You know what it was?
What?
So they basically said to the customer, say, well, you have to give your ticket away for free.
Okay.
So there was some laugh in the room for the first 2 seconds, but then I said, so no, seriously, what do we do? I said, well, this is what's going to happen. People are not going to pay to enter your, to enter the theater. And it goes back to the notion of why do you go to the theater?
Yep.
So you go there because you want to be entertained, right? It's not about owning the ticket that is costing $8. So if we find a way to actually help them calculate customer happiness when they enter the theater by combining with a little camera in front of every seat, so that people will come, sit down, pay $0 for the ticket, but every time they laugh, so with machine learning algorithm, right, every time a customer will laugh, they will pay 10 cents.
Okay.
So this way, people who are not entertained will go out paying nothing. People who are highly entertained, of course, you want to limit the number of laugh to a certain amount, otherwise you don't want to pay $100 for a ticket either. But at the end of the day, if you combine the right billing solution with the right technology, with the machine learning and the camera in the seats, what you create is a better experience for the customer, because then you can engage with them. You get data about what type of jokes do they like, or these kind of things, and then you can combine again all of the pricing directly from your seat and leave the show and connect with your audience in a much better manner. So they obviously saw their revenue raise, but it's an example of, in the entertainment industry, how do you combine the right data? How do you embed that into your billing and into your financial process and deliver a great customer experience at the end, right? So I think it helps kind of illustrate what we're all about.
Absolutely, and I think that's a great use case, and that also reminds me of the fact that quite recently I think 3 or 4 years ago, there was a new telco which was entering the Indian market, and it came in and said free voice, free data, and free phone.
Yeah.
Imagine at a time when the phone was costing a good amount of money, and a call rate was possibly around about $1. They just came in and killed it all. And then the competition had to actually bring it down. But what they were doing was even better, because what they were doing was they were getting all that information that people were talking to people, and where they were going, what they were doing on their phones and so forth, and use that data to actually make more business out of it. So the customer was a winner, and suddenly there was a shift. So they suddenly became one of the largest telco in less than 4 or 5 months, because everyone left the originally existing telco and went on to the yep. So there are some real good use cases out there. Okay.
And I was going to say, as you mentioned also in your book, right? It's not only about fixing, a potential challenge or uncovering, an area that we haven't developed. It's really around monetization of that data as well at the end, right? You have new scenario, new information that can benefit your suppliers, your other type of customers, your team internally, and then suddenly, you can make money. So you're right. There's a lot of services that now appears to be free that before you had to pay for, because you reach out more people, you get more information, and today data is money. So it's definitely worth it.
That reminds me, for the audience, I've got a question for the audience today. So guys, what innovation you have seen, to all the people who are watching us on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, what innovation you have seen that you would like to share with us and you think was top class and made a difference? That'll be great. Just put it in the comment section and we will take those comments. Okay, so what is the approach, Marvin, that you follow when you're doing these innovative exercises at your experience center? So run us through, how do you do it? Just run us through an end-to-end session. How does it look like?
Cool. So yeah, we don't wake up one day and say, "Hey, that looks cool. Why don't we showcase that to our customer?" So it's definitely a teamwork. So I'm part of a global team within SAP, which we are called the Innovation Office. So that's pretty straightforward. We are called what we're doing. But basically, what we do is we help explore, inspire, and engage with our customer what could be their potential scenario, capabilities. So of course we have 1,000 plus, innovation stories that for the specific industry could be used. But eventually, what we want to do is, inspire them, illustrate what could be done with their data in some cases, and how they can monetize the money, so that eventually they can also, take control of those innovations themselves. And we can work with, for example, we have a methodology called the design thinking team to make sure that their users are involved, and also we can integrate those capabilities in their system. So yes, we are a full team covering the engagement with our customer, but we follow what I call a 4-step approach. Because then again, there's a lot of innovation idea that bring low value, or basically that could just be a copy product of what the competition is doing in the industry. So very importantly, what we do with our customer is look at 4 things. The first one is what I call the feasibility, right? Is this innovation that we want to lead together is feasible within your current environment? Is it feasible from a legal perspective, right? Sometimes we have great idea about how you can capture people's sentiments, if they work in a specific space or look at a specific product. But in Europe, for example, with the global data protection rules regulation, that could be an issue. So feasibility is one. The second one is desirability. Who within your organization need this? And it's very important that for innovation, when we run those inspiration sessions, we have different people, we have the end user, we have the executive, we have everybody aligned, so that we understand who's going to benefit. Is it our customers? Is it our team internally? But this needs to be defined so that we know exactly what's going to be the deliverable. The third one is the viability. Yep. Viability really means is that innovation going to bring me, potential money? Is this going to create a new business model for my company that I can then leverage and go out there opening new markets? So those are more, I would say, strategic points, but nonetheless very important, because otherwise you might be confronted with an innovation that is just a nice to have, and we're making sure that this is not the case. Last but not least, I mentioned 4 points, is the scalability concept. We've had great ideas, great opportunities, but they can only be scaled into one factory, for example, in the digital manufacturing case. And for some reason, we need to make sure that once the innovation and the process we've built is here, that company is able to scale it at a much bigger scale for their whole operation.
Okay. And you based out, as you said, you're based out of Singapore. How does it fit in the Singapore environment altogether? Because I know from what I've seen in Singapore, it is a hub for AI. I think most of that innovative stuff is being done across Singapore in the various public sector and the private sector, both areas. How does it fit in the whole scheme of things?
Well, we have what we call as well our ecosystem. So we work with universities, startups, service partner, hardware partner in Singapore. We're also connected with their customer from a hardware perspective or from a service perspective, right? So we do work with them to make sure that we deliver, innovation that will support the Singapore government, for example. So if that's the case, we will work with the right partner to make sure that we're delivering the right innovation. But overall, I will say it's very important for us to understand, from a customer perspective, what could be delivered. So when a Singaporean customer step in, I had the example of what I call the digital shops, just to provide an illustration. So we had an augmented reality application that allows customer, and it's not new, right? Most of the customer, if you look at Tiffany or if you look at Titan, for example, in Titan in India, if you want to buy their sunglasses, you can do it so with an application, and it shows the sunglasses on you, but at a very very high 3D level, and then it will help Titan optimize their inventory management. So we do deliver those physically in the center with our partner directly delivering the innovation to our customer, but we also do so remotely. You mentioned before that, yes, we are based in Singapore. However, we truly believe that the future innovation will be led into Asia. We have what we call the Asia soaring in our strategy within SAP, and I believe there's going to be a shift at some point with all the innovative companies being created into Asia, where we really going to become the focus and the center of that innovation portfolio, and eventually we need to be able to scale ourselves. So we have remote capabilities. So it's not only, I will say, in Singapore, it's also, we have teleconference robots. So we partner with a company as well called Blue and Cube that help us bring our customer virtually into the center so that we can run those, the same, I would say, same station, even if they are not there physically, basically.
Okay. You mentioned robots. Tell us more about that.
Yeah. All right. So robotic is a big part of, what we're doing as a tool to integrate the use case better. So we see them mainly into the digital manufacturing and how we optimize the supply chain in general from our customers. So it could go anywhere from smart manufacturing. I'll give you an example that is actually not directly in Asia, but it will relate to all the audience. It's Harley Davidson. So Harley Davidson had a very unstructured way of building the motorcycle in their York office in the United States. They had 42 buildings, 300 people working through different departments. There was a lot of overlay. It took them 21 days to build the motorcycle. So what we have is a scaled down version of a production shop floor where we are showing how we can integrate, thanks to Internet of Things, RFID, integrate the data live so that everybody in the factory is aware if there's any quality issue, if the planning is not followed naturally, how do I raise that? So we did the same concept with Harley Davidson, and we helped them basically reducing all of all of the bottlenecks in their factory. So they went down from building a motorcycle in 21 days down to 6 hours. So again, taking the perspective of the end customer, how do I create a better experience? How do I make sure that my VIP customer that I know what they like, they customize their product on my website. Well, why don't I invite them into the factory, seeing the motorcycle being built and leaving with the keys, as they leave in the afternoon. So those are the type of things we're doing a lot with digital manufacturing. We have, of course, integration of, a robot for the retail or in the warehouse. We're working with drone company that will do direct scanning of the boxes, so that to optimize the planning again or reduce the manual handling. So sometimes, if I talk to my wife about it and she sees me coming back, she say, people think I'm playing with toy, in the center. It's actually going a bit everywhere, but it's all come to a real purpose, which is, as I explained before, the value to customers and employees.
No, but that's what I was thinking when you were speaking. I was thinking the guy is always covered around with robots and toys and drones and whatnot. Guys, fun.
That's the beauty of having a scaled down illustration of innovation center. And yes, during COVID-19 situation, I'm basically going to spend myself with my team alone with the robots. So for the one who have seen the movie Passengers, this is us, right? It's spending the day talking to a robot, coming back home.
Good stuff. Any funny incident that happened during this time when you're talking to customers, innovation? Because innovation, people can think outside of the box, and it can sometimes go too far away. So tell us any incident that comes to mind, which is really funny. You were talking about something and said, well, you've stretched the boundaries a bit more.
Okay, yeah, there's been a couple of times, with the innovation project that we are leading, where I will say, some customers are intrigued and they're asking us, how far can we stretch a potential use case, right? So we have this blockchain capability that, for example, we delivered with Relic Pharma, one of our customers, and one of really light for our customer into what we're delivering. And it's basically, track and trace, blockchain integrated capabilities. And we have this machine in the center. And it's actually a pretty big machine, right? Sometimes, it's built in Germany, and like this one is, I think, almost a ton. And whenever it's being shipped here, it's not the type of thing that you buy on Lazada, you get and it's gonna work, right? So I think we had to dismantle quite a bit of those things, and trying to put it back in the center, was a bit of a challenge, but we did it. And this, remember what it is. It's basically traceability. So the first time I actually had to demo it, we did the test, everything's working well, perfect. We had a customer meeting the next day. So I go there, starting to explain the demo, how it works and how the boxes, are basically being printed out live, so that it can be sent to the blockchain and help supplier understand, where's the product, how can we optimize product recall management. So everything goes well up until the moment that, we didn't change the setting. It's an industrial real machine, right? So the boxes are pretty much going, like, if you don't change that, 500 per minute. So it goes fast. And we thought we'd change it, but we didn't. So as soon as I started the demo, the boxes just flew everywhere in the center. I couldn't stop it in time or whatever. So it was basically like a complete mess of boxes everywhere around. So it was actually, but they were all printed. I mean, my point was, they were all printed properly. So I said, you see, even if things go fast, we register the QR code into the machine. But yeah, it's like everything with innovation. It's always working while you rehearse, and whenever you have to do the demo, it's live system as well, right? So it's not mock-up. So something is going to go wrong at some point.
Well, it's technology, I've had, sometimes I think going live would be as simple, but sometimes it becomes so challenging, even running a simple box at two sides. Okay. Do you see any challenges? And I would like to ask this question around, what kind of challenges that come into the way when customers are talking to you? Are these people challenges, or are these technical challenges? While innovating, what kind of challenges do you see with your customers? And then how do they get translated into the project? And does that impact the project in any way or form? Tell us.
Yeah, I think, I think two if I can answer your question in 2 points, I think that will summarize the situation. But most of our customers now, now everybody talk about innovation. We all know it's not new, but how do you deliver this, and what type of, we know how to build the structure and the methodology to at least showcase what type of data, what type of business processes we can help you serve, which of your customers are going to be more happy with that innovation. So that's a given. But most of the time, from our customer, it's really around, how do you deliver the value? How do we get value from this? Because, and especially in time where, like this, like COVID-19, people will have a tendency, and it's normal, to think about, innovation second, and first, let us keep the light on. So I think we need to serve different interests within the company. We need to make sure as well that we help them illustrate the potential value. And this is why our team is really well engaged with building prototypes. So what we do is, it's better to learn fast, do fast, and fail fast than, having a project that's going to go on and on for 3 months and nobody's going to realize value. So what we're trying to do is to minimize the risk with innovation, because there's always this risk. Who's going to lead it? Is it going to work? Is it going to bring the value that my team expects? So the main challenge is this one: help me realize the value, help me build a business case that once this is, if I work with you, if I trust you, once this is done, I need to show people that this is working. I need to show that I create a new business model. And luckily, yes, our team is, so we have a digital labs led by Ashwini in our team that helps doing that, realize the value of any potential innovation we could create. And we also work with our partner. So that was my second thought, right? It's not us alone. It's not only SAP. So sometimes innovation gets spread across different hardware partner, different services partner, and our role is to really work with this ecosystem to make sure that it comes as one package solution that will include all the different components that will be priced in such a way that it's attractive and not going to demolish the business case from the start. So I think my main challenge in this one is, if you work with us and you realize that there's value, then let us work through the process with our team so that to really make sure that the prototype that we can build and help you deliver will create the viability that we assign at the beginning of the show. I think this is the main one that I see coming from our customer, especially with the COVID-19 situation. Some of our customers, especially in aerospace, right? A lot of airplane companies say, hey, how can we automate a lot of the interaction we have now, which is, can you cancel my flight? Am I going to see my, I booked with my points, are you going to see that? They're getting overwhelmed by the amount of people connecting. So sometimes innovation is, really helping our customer not drowning into a situation that's been created by whether a political situation or the crisis that we know right now. So we can help them not drowning. There is the innovation that will also help them surfing, right? How do you help me, optimize my supply chain delivery while, there's so many demands from my customers? So we will, we are human, we're a people team. We will always connect that to the right, I will say, key performance indicator at the time to help serve our customers.
Okay, that's good. Before I get to the question and answers, and before I get to my last question, I need to ask this question to the audience. Guys, if you've got a question, this is your last chance. Before I get to the last question, my last question to Marvin, please put your question in the comment section and I will take them. Also, if you've got any innovation that you've seen that made a difference, please put that in the comment section and we will discuss that. Okay, last question to you, Marvin, from me. Any use case, any big use case that you think blew your mind away, whether with SAP, not SAP, whether it was at the Innovation Center, whether you were driving it or not? Tell us about a use case that was so innovative that you said, well, I think this beats everything.
Okay, there's several, but I'm going to limit that to one. Let me think. All right, so I think this one is in retail because it's linked to augmented reality or mixed reality. I call it one or the other, but it's really around building new network for our customer. So it basically starts with this digital challenge. Who of you in the audience actually prefer to go physically to the stores compared to the one who wants to go, only online. I mean, myself, if I have to go to the stores, I would say I go once per year. I don't like reading the ingredients. I don't like, spending the time into the alley and trying to find the right product that I want. So it's true that today, I'm a big online customer. But if you think of it, this is it about the experience, right? If you are a famous retailer, you have your physical stores and you have your online, web or mobile application capabilities. We came up with this concept of actually bringing this into, I will say, a mixed reality environment. And I'm going to explain to you why. First of all, it's not only about purchasing goods as a commodity. It could be you moving to a new country and not, every time I move to country, I have to say, you go to the supermarket and there is stuff in there that you never thought existed. And it's pretty cool because, if you're adventurous, you try a few things, but if you're not, you end up buying the same thing. So by creating a virtual shelf on an application directly into a virtual reality, what you can do is you can personalize the experience. So whenever, I want, for example, there's a chatbot function. So we've created this project thanks to the help of some of our students actually in Germany as a start. And now there's more and more people interested. But you could say, hey, I am lactose intolerant, or hey, I don't eat gluten-free, things. And suddenly, that the system will also provide you with a view of, the goods that will be good for you. But it could be that, it's not only about buying things. You can say, hey, I want to lose 5 kilos in the next 2 months, or I want, a professional diet to help me, getting fit and so on. So suddenly with the app, you can combine diet, fitness people to the end user and ask advice and get, and view the recipe directly. So that's good for the customer because you're part of a platform. You're not just buying stuff. You're trying to have, you have some goals, you're trying to achieve them, and suddenly this retailer is helping you achieving those. So as a end customer, you find your way. For the supplier, what happened is today, if I go in the shop and I'm looking at the Coca-Cola bottle, I'm putting it back and I'm going to buy the Pepsi. The Coca-Cola, it's rare that actually the shop will have a heat map or LiDAR camera to tell you, hey, this customer stopped by 3 seconds and he didn't buy your Coca-Cola. No, that data is non-existent. With the app, if I look at the Coca-Cola for 3 seconds, decide not to buy it, and then move to Pepsi, as the owner of the app, the retailer can say, hey, Coca-Cola, it's great that you sold 10,000 bottles last month. We can tell you that based on our, the people that are buying from us, you actually missed on 27,000 bottles. And then getting the right data. And probably it's because of the price, because now, Pepsi is having, a little bit slower. So you gain sales insights that you can monetize. And again, it's about the monetization. You can monetize into virtual advertising directly in the app. So not only you monetize advertising in the application, so you help your supplier understanding, hey, how can I optimize myself? But also the customer is, improve the interaction. So as long as you have, I would say, what I like about this example, it's not, I would say, not an innovation only for one group of people, which are the customer, but it impacts different parties. And again, it creates new modelization. So that's one example. There's a lot around what we do. There's actually 1,000 plus. So I think 30 minutes is not going to be enough to explain that. But again, it just create the idea and the concept of why do we innovate. And by combining augmented reality, Internet of Things, machine learning algorithm, then you can truly unlock this intelligent enterprise capability that we talked about.
Okay. I must say one thing. The example that you gave me just now, when I was working at a retailer, space optimization was big thing, and we used to look at space quite well. And the classic example of I've got this aisle, and this aisle has got to fit in Coca-Cola and Pepsi. What should I put more and what should I put less in terms of space? Even though I will put less of Pepsi and more of Coke, I will sell more Pepsis than Coke, or other way around. How do you organize that? And I think this will complement that particular example very, very well, because in those days, it was more about bringing the sales in, bringing the attributes in, and looking at cannibalization and all that stuff. But with what you're saying is, you've got another layer on it, which says, well, I've got a person who's gone in there who was looking for Pepsi, but that didn't mean that he bought a Coca-Cola. Pepsi and walked away because he didn't find a Pepsi. It wasn't on the shelf. I think that is a classic example and would really help space optimization. So all my friends who were working on that project once upon a time, guys, if you were looking to improve on that particular project on space optimization, talk to Marvin and he can help you with getting you one more data set. Okay, guys. Thank you very much, Marvin. I will now get on to the audience questions. Bingo! Let's go. And I've got a few. Okay, let's start at the top. The first one I'll take from Facebook, and it is from Vamsi Rappel. Hi, Vamsi, how are you? He's saying, can you please tell more detail on the intelligence tools used in SAP, like SAP Data Intelligence?
All right. Very good. So yeah, briefly, thank you for that question, Vamsi. Yeah, so I briefly mentioned that it was a set of intelligent technologies that we are leveraging depending on the use case to make sure that eventually we bring the right data to the right business processes. So there is several. We've acquired a few companies, for example, Recast AI, that help us with our conversational AI. So everything from chatbot to voice recognition, in order to to dynamically process information within your business process is what we do. And I have to say here, it's not a simple chatbot that will just answer a question and then put you through a business agent that over the phone. No, it's really integrating smart analysis data, and from the chatbot you will create a sales service ticket, for example, for your customer, or you will create a work order for your employees, right? So people would not have to manually repeat the task somewhere, and everything will be kind of maintained in the system. So conversational AI is one. Of course, machine learning, it really helps us make sense of the data. Most of the use case we have are all backed up by machine learning, so that step by step, you understand the pattern of your data, and you know how to cope and optimize those for your customers. So Internet of Things is, of course, a very important part. There's so many things right now that you can look at, from optimizing the transport or the supply chain. Is this good too hot? The vibration being too high. We had the example of a famous ice cream manufacturer, which I cannot say the name, but in 15% of their case, the chocolate crust was broken. And for them, it just meant bad customer satisfaction. It impacted the brand. So it was very important to go down to the vibration during the transport that were happening to see which suppliers were actually breaking down this thin chocolate crust on their ice cream. And they managed to find it and optimize the quality of their goods. So I will just summarize it, and probably this is something we can talk a little bit later, but machine learning, conversational AI, blockchain, Internet of Things, are obviously the key components, plus the SAP Data Intelligence of what we're doing and how we deliver those services.
Perfect. Next question is from Samuel. Samuel, hi Samuel, how are you? And his question is, what is the role of design thinking in driving meaningful innovation? Does technology drive innovation or business problem?
I like this question. Thanks Samuel, thanks a lot. And as I explained before, design thinking is crucial whenever your company is willing to to adopt new strategy. Why? Because this is really the moment where you can figure out the real challenges that you have. To mention the idea of the application that I mentioned for retail before, Shailendra was mentioning it started first as an inventory management optimization. That company didn't have enough stock, so they say, hey, we need something to optimize inventory management. Design thinking in that period really helped figuring out that it was not actually only an inventory management issue, but realistically brand perception from the customers, as well as how the suppliers could actually benefit from that information as well. So I say it's very important, because not only you connect with the right people within the organization, it's about design thinking is also about trust and transparency. Everybody needs to come up not with their SAP hat or the customer hat, but suddenly you're only one team. trying to see the full extent of the value you can bring to a customer. And thanks to design thinking, you can actually expand those use cases, make them real, and align with the customer that the next meeting are not going to be useless because everybody's busy with different projects. So we need to agree on what's going to bring value. And I'm the first one. If a customer say, hey, we want to do this, but we're not sure what this is, how can we make sure that at the end of the day, if we continue having discussion after 1 month, is actually going to be beneficial for both our companies, but especially for the customer perspective. So it really helped shape the importance of the project. And by the way, design thinking is not only about innovation project to implement them into your organization. It could be as well intrinsically really around adapting a change management model or optimizing your current processes internally. So I think it really helped getting a direction and executing on it.
And to the second part, does technology drive innovation or business problem? My take on that is it's a business problem. I think technology is an enabler, whereas if you don't have a business problem, you can have the best of the technology for doing nothing. What do you think, Marvin?
Yeah, I think it's a good way, right? Because in some cases, yes, technology. We all seen that blockchain was a financial world. Blockchain was everybody knew, from Bitcoin what blockchain, was creating to the market. It has created, I would say, more business problem and challenges with now government. We are thinking, hey, how do we optimize the patient data, right? Today, everybody is going into their pharmacy, and every time you need to fill in your names and so on. If you use blockchain into the healthcare world, suddenly the clinic, the pharmacist, the hospital, everybody can have access to the right information. There's no duplication or manual process involved anymore. You can avoid fraud. So it does create challenges, right? In that case, because you're like, who do you want to be? Do you want to be the first one to innovate but realize maybe the technology is going to evolve too early? Or do you want to wait so that your competitors go first and realize all the benefits of to be taken in the market? So I think technology drives both.
Okay, good one. Guys, I must say, I'm feeling at the moment that there are lots of questions there, but LinkedIn is quite quiet today. There is not any question from LinkedIn. Something's gone wrong with LinkedIn. What's going on, guys? On LinkedIn, who are you watching? Where are your questions? I've got questions on Facebook, YouTube, no LinkedIn. What's going on? Okay, next question. Next question is from Andrew De La Posta. Andrew is saying, hi, Andrew, first of all, how are you? Marvin, what do you see as potential innovation trends coming post-COVID?
I like this. There's a lot of different subjects that our team has been working on, especially for during this COVID crisis. I mentioned before for the airline, right? Something as simple as a chatbot that will allow you to automate some of the interaction you have with your customers. But actually, I'm going to talk about something that we're also working with Samsung, that they are putting together, how to analyze the heat map live of a specific space. So I don't have all the data of this, but this is again the beauty of working with some partner where you can see what can they bring to the table. So I think it's going to be very important to understand the potential risk zone, right? Or to understand, imagine you're an old couple, you need to go to the supermarket, but you're afraid that there might be too many people there, or you're not too sure about the live queue anymore. So helping people having that information live is pretty important. Recently, we've launched an application internally for all our employees, which is called Bridget, and it basically take all the true information in the markets in the world around COVID and put it into an app where you can ask live, what is the latest information, or at least you are sure not to look at information that are not true, because that was also an issue. All the fake news, all the fake information that are out there, how do you filter that out? Again, this is something that we've seen can help a lot. Now, if you really ask me, I think there's a few industries. I come back to what I said earlier. There are going to be industries that are going to drown. There are going to be some of our customers who are swimming, and some of our customers who are surfing, right? And we have to be very, we're showing a lot of empathy with the customer. We want to make sure that we understand their situation and we can help them with the issue they have, which for some is a cash flow issue, and for some other is coping with the high demand. So everything on online businesses have been booming. Of course, healthcare as well. We have seen that, but some businesses are going down. I don't know if you've seen in the news recently, Hertz is now disappearing. They just filed for bankruptcy. So it's completely changing the way we consume innovation and the way we are going to deliver them, because it's going to be whether financial innovation or business innovation that will basically help them survive and thrive in that time.
Okay. Next question is an interesting one, and the name is interesting too. It's quite a long name. Cherevu Bhavani Shankara Chaitanya. Hi Cherevu, how are you? And he's saying, which course I have to learn to get good opportunity and money? Very straightforward question for you, Marvin. None of people will even say, what course should you go and do?
That's an interesting one. If you're talking about course, if it's about good opportunity and good money, about course online, there's a lot on SAP.com that's called Open SAP. Feel free to I actually can also provide some link into the courses that we have that basically explain the inherent value of every of those technologies. So I'm more than happy to share that. Now, if it's completely outside of SAP, I think it's a good time to make your good bet on the stock options, or probably a course about stock options somehow that will help you for the second part of the question, which is about money as well.
Good one. Thank you, Cherevu, for that question. But I think it was a brilliant question at this hour. We could have laughed as well. Anyways, good stuff. Next is from Vamsi Rapel again. Hi, Vamsi, back with this question. He's saying, my innovation idea. So that's an idea. He says, in SAP, why don't we use natural processing language, natural language processing for email notification in workflows? Good thing to remember and possibly communicate to the project teams.
No, and it's I like this as well, Vamsi, because this is definitely some this specific areas where we use that. I was showing the other day to one of our customers as well how we simplify the use of SAP by using natural processing language, but also using picture recognition. So the use case goes this way. Right? Imagine you're a field technician, you're working on the car and you need to buy new equipment. So to simplify people's work, you need to somehow train the system to recognize a few things. In that case, what we can do is we can train the field technician can look at the piece of equipment, take a photo, send it to a chatbot that will then automatically, so it's not about email, but it's about SAP system that will recognize the piece and it will say, hey, is that this piece? Yeah. How many do you need? I need 3. Buying now? Yes. The notification sent directly to the manager in that case, that can then approve it by directly using his phone. So you don't need to go in the system. You don't need to type in anything or in a PC or a mobile. It's all done through, I take a picture, I'm the field technician, I'm the manager, I approve it with my voice, and then it sends the right email notification, but the right purchase order as well to the supplier, following the spend and the management and all the pre-approved pricing that you have. So it can help save, we've all been in the situation where we need something and we go outside the process to buy it. It can be costly at a large scale for companies. So we do integrate those more and more. And if you ask my advice in the future, we the generation with the keyboard, touching things, we've evolved through the digital with the iPhone and the smartphone and so on. But I do believe that 85%, if not more, of all the business transaction future will be done through, I take a picture of something or I talk to a system. I don't think we need to type in anything anymore. So it's being really looked at and developed in so many different use cases as well.
Okay.
But I like the one for email. Remember this one.
Okay. Sorry?
I should let you know. My wife shouldn't know, but we also have developed chatbot capabilities into my WhatsApp. So if she asks me a few questions, the chatbot will answer for me.
Yeah, I know. No, I've heard about that. Anyways, okay. Before I get to the next question, I must say one thing. LinkedIn has let me down today. There is no question on LinkedIn. This is funny. Otherwise, we've got so many questions on Facebook and YouTube. LinkedIn usually has a lot of questions. So guys, and I know there are lots of people watching on LinkedIn, so why are you not asking questions? I don't know. Maybe they're not coming through. something is wrong. Anyways, if you've got a question, please put that in the comment section. We're still going with the questions. Okay, before I go to the next one, guys, people who are watching on YouTube, I have collected a lot of videos like this on YouTube, so please subscribe to the channel and smash the bell icon so that next time we go live, you get a message. Okay, next question is from Twitter, and it says it's coming from Project AI7, and it says AD or VR. I think it is AR VR. Maybe he's looking for a use case around that. Any use case you want to share?
Okay, they are, I will say, they're quite different in some ways. And again, we partner with different companies to help us. We recently discussing with Silver Wings about how do we bring even 3D holograms as a predictive maintenance control room operation within your system. So everything you've seen on Minority Report is coming together pretty nicely, because you can be here sitting down in your control room and seeing a digital twin of your operation via even a 3D hologram table. I mean, today the technology exists to do so. So I will say it's not as simple as, they have different specific use cases. One is obviously much more immersive than the other. For many business reasons, I see that augmented reality, mixed reality provide more value, and is more, it's easily consumable. Right? We have seen, for example, in the shipment company, being able to take the wall of the ship out altogether, so you can scan the QR code on the shipping container, and then realize with some software what is in there. Similar thing with in buildings, when you need to know where the gas tube is or the water tube is. You can just take your augmented reality app and then take down the wall, and as you walk, you will be able to see what is actually live in this building behind those walls, and not having to break it, which could be very convenient. So I will say from an operational perspective, augmented reality provide more value, because you can consume it on augmented reality glasses, you can consume it on your iPhone. There's different ways that you can do it. Virtual reality is with the headset, and it's pretty live environment. So as long as you want to create immersive experience within something that is completely different, VR will be the best. And we do that sometimes, because we have when we have to link the capacity or the different perspective across different teams. For example, business and IT, they have different perspective on things, so bringing them into a virtual room where they can see things, when they can experience the same way as the end user, could be very useful as well. So we provide both. We work with partners on both, and it's really on a case-by-case basis based on the industry you worked on as well.
Okay, that was, so you mentioned hologram. I would love to wait. I'm waiting for the time when I can just stream a hologram onto the stage and I don't have to go to Singapore to present. And I'm doing it in my room, and it's happening in Singapore on stage, or India on stage. I think I'm waiting for that time to happen, where I can hologramically transport myself. Anyways, innovation is about dreams. Innovation is about thinking.
Yes.
The art of possibility. Okay, last question. I don't have any more questions other than this one from Rishabh Jan. Hi Rishabh, how are you? And his question is, what is the scope of innovation in aerospace industry post-COVID to stabilize business? Very pertinent question.
Yeah, very important one. And to be honest, I don't have all the answers on this one, because it's been upside down. We see tireways that being backed up now by the government to survive. I will say it's too early at the moment to actually sit down with our customer in aerospace and tell them, hey, this innovation will help you connect with your customer better. Yes, we have a few ideas, but at the moment, really what the aerospace customer we have, what they need from us is empathy, because they're all in the drowning phase right now. And because they are in the drowning phase, we have a few ideas to help them, to support them and help them with getting with the amount of requests they have for canceling and so on. So we've already developed that via the chatbot capabilities, which is some small project where we can help. But of course, it's really around financial cash flows at the moment. But when the time will come, there will be new processes that will need to come through. there will be new way to to basically interact with the customer, and at this time also we'll have the proper discussion. So I would say right now it's the innovation scope we have with aerospace is to help them survive at this stage and make sure that they can be here in the next 6 months.
Okay, perfect. Rishabh, hopefully you've got the answer. If not, please mention your email or details into the comment section and we'll get back to you on that. Well, so that was all in terms of questions, Marvin. And we have done the hour. We've over an hour now. So thank you very much for your time. You've been great. And, like always, we always had fun. Always have fun when we're having a conversation and talking about things. So great to have you on this show. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Chandra. Thanks everybody for joining.
Thank you. Bye now.
Thanks. Bye.
So guys, that was Marvin Rougier, and it's always fun talking to him. On the other side of things, when we think innovation, it is about doing or building products or building processes which are not there at the moment, something very new, something that has not been done in the past in a new way. So there are great ideas and some good stories that came out of Marvin. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the show. I will be back in a couple of days with something on artificial intelligence and ethics. Same time. So tune in there. If you're watching me on LinkedIn, please follow me so that you can be alerted. If you're watching me on YouTube, please smash the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you are alerted when a new episode is on or a new show is on. As you see, we've got around about 40 videos on YouTube. So there's a lot of content there you can watch and learn from, whether it is data science, whether it is artificial intelligence, innovation, digital transformation, a lot of things there, lots to learn from these very, very senior leaders in the industry. Go on, have a look, and I'll be back in just a day. So thank you very much, and bye now.